Greetings and welcome to you today on this Friday, the 27th of September. And I hope you are anticipating our new book, which started out with our introduction yesterday. It's from Voice of the Martyrs. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? 366 scriptures for following Christ and facing persecution. Again, here in America, not so much. At least for us. There are some people from other places who get persecuted here. But this is obviously a wide-ranging book. They want to start us off after the introduction yesterday. They want to start us off with letting us know that there is one acceptable fear. One acceptable fear, and that acceptable fear is fearing God. Some phrases in the Bible can be confusing. Fearing God is toward the top of that list. To fear God doesn't mean shivering in terror when you stand before God. Instead, to fear God means to give God the reverence, and respect that he deserves. It's seeing clearly that God's authority in your life rises far above any other authority that lays claim to your actions and to your attitudes. To fear God is to be in awe of him, to obey him in all things, at all times, regardless of the consequences. When biblical disciples face the bloody machetes of their accusers and still refuse to deny Christ, they are fearing God. When biblical disciples live with integrity and refuse to lie in order to cover a mistake, they fear God. Richard Wurmbrand wrote about a sister named Nijole. I'm not sure if that's a proper pronunciation since they're from Europe. Probably not. Nijole, Nijole, who was arrested, tried, and sentenced to prison, and later deported to Siberia in the 1970s for her Christian activity in communist Soviet Lithuania. Her fear of the Lord freed her to say the following words when she was in court. Remember yesterday's what Wurmbrand said directly to the judge in his case. Truth needs no defense because it is all-powerful and unconquerable, were her words. Only deceit and lies, being powerless before truth, need weapons, soldiers, and prisons to prolong their infamous rule for a while. A partial government digs its own grave. I am on the right side and am ready to lose liberty for truth. I will give gladly even my life without fearing prisons. We Christians have to condemn all actions which lead to injustice and humiliation. There's an appropriate sentence for our time. We Christians have to condemn all actions which lead to injustice and humiliation. We must distinguish what is written by men from what is commanded by God. We owe to Caesar only what remains after having given to God what is his due. The most important thing in life is to free heart and mind from fear, because yielding to evil is the greatest sin. This is the happiest day of my life, she said. Actually, I just ended the quote with the fear because yielding to evil is the greatest sin. This is the happiest day of my life. I'm tried for the cause of truth and love toward men. What cause could be more important? I have an enviable fate, a glorious destiny. I'm going to apologize. This is still her speaking. They changed the print on me, made me think the quote was over. This is the happiest day of my life. I am tried for the cause of truth and love toward men. What cause could be more important? I have an enviable fate, a glorious destiny. My condemnation will be my triumph. How could I not rejoice when God Almighty has promised that light will overcome darkness and truth will overcome error and lies? May God give us the assurance that his last judgment will be favorable to all of us. I will ask this in prayer for you every day of my life. We must condemn evil, but we must love the man, even the one in error. This you can learn only at the school of Jesus Christ, who is the only truth for all, the only way, and the only life. Good Jesus, your kingdom come into our souls. That's now the end of her quote in court. When you place your confidence in God, rather than letting fear of man or circumstance dictate your decisions, you are fearing God. You are worshiping him through faithful obedience and living as a citizen of heaven while you're still planted firmly on earth. When you follow Jesus, there's no need to be afraid of your Father. He loves you, and through Jesus has accepted you into his family. You're always welcome at his table. Biblical disciples are in awe of the God of the universe. They live their lives with his glory in view always. We live our lives with his glory in view always. That's what we need to keep in the uppermost level of our thinking. I'm in a situation. I know the old thing, what would Jesus do? Well, here's the deal. You got to really know Jesus if you're going to know what he will do in the situation. He's not going to lie. He's not going to insult the ones who are attacking him. He's going to pray for them. He prayed for his disciples on the night in which he was betrayed. He washed their feet. He knew there was a traitor in their midst. He knew by the end of the night they would all scatter away from him and he would go through the next hours alone. Nobody standing next to him. He had this kind of bravery, this kind of strength within him because he knew where he was and what was going on was all part of his Father's plan, and he did not need to fear what man would do to him. And that is the same for us as well. We need to hold on to that, remembering who's got me, in whose hands am I. I do not need to fear that some wrong response will get me shot or get me hated by people. We live to please the Lord, and when we do that, there is no need to fear. Blessings to you today.